I guess people still trying to make their case for who's the best rock and roll drummer of all time. I don't know how I got into this yesterday, but now all of a sudden I'm hearing from some fan bases here.
That might have been 2 days ago.
Oh, was?
This one's got those kind of legs.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know if it was a long list of the greatest rock and roll drummers of all time. But the Ginger Baker fan base is strong.
They are strong.
Now, Ginger Baker was great drummer with Cream that had Eric Clapton. It didn't last long. A Blind Faith is another band that he was in. But, I just said, how dare me, that John Bonham is the greatest rock and roll drummer of all time. He's Led Zeppelin's drummer, and I thought that he invented rock and roll drumming.
First, the Keith Moon crowd came after you, but now that final wave of Ginger Baker fans is just crushing you.
Yeah, I know.
Anybody who knows anything, okay, ask a real drummer what they think.
Okay. Yes, Paul.
There's a couple Peter Criss fans outside. Kiss fans out there want a piece of you.
I get it.
Just in their little...
I'm waiting for the Zeppelin fans to have my back here with John Bonham. All right? But yeah, I've got some emails today. This morning goes, the Ginger Baker group coming after you.
Still coming after you.
Yeah. All right. I think they just got the word after 2 days. It just kind of got to them. Wherever they are, it just got to them. Wait, he what? Said what? And there was a documentary on Ginger Baker, and I think that probably has added to this, that people know who Ginger Baker is. And he's still alive, I believe. But he's a great drummer. Great drummer, absolutely. Great drummer. But he's not John Bonham. Or Keith Moon, perhaps. Let's see.
What are you doing?
Why?
I'm kidding.
No. I feel strongly about this.
Oh, what did you just say?
I feel strongly about this. I feel strongly. Yeah, I just mentioned that John Bonham's great rock and roll drummer of all time. That's it. There's not an argument there. I think John Bonham created the genre of rock and roll drumming. Yeah, Paul.
You know, Stuart Copeland from the Police was a pretty cool drummer. Not top five or anything. I think he's also a really good-looking dude, and that helped his case.
Yeah, he was kind of a jazz feel to them.
Lars Ulrich from Metallica, I don't know if he's considered a great drummer, but he was kind of the face of the band, which is weird because Hetfield does most of the work.
Yes, Eaton.
You know what the best part of Stuart Copeland is that if you ask him, he'll tell you he's the best drummer in the world. And if you ask him, he'll say the Police. If you said the Beatles or the Police, he would be like, it's the Police, not even close.
He's the Jalen Ramsey of drummers?
He is the Jalen Ramsey of rock and roll, for sure.
I like
he's not scared of no man.
I can give John Bonham 27 minutes to do a solo in concert. Now, do I want to hear 27 minutes? No. But he can do 27 minutes.
Well, that's what they say about Moby Dick, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of, he's got a drum solo in there. That's supposed to be his best moment, isn't it?
Yeah, he just goes. He goes. And he's great. He's the best rock and roll drummer of all time. You want to put in Keith Moon and Neil Peart?
Ginger Baker.
Sure, fine. I'm fine with all that. Everybody got all defensive there. There is no argument for somebody being better than John Bonham when it comes to rock and roll drumming.
It'd be awesome if Ginger Baker was watching. He's like, you're damn right. Yep. It's my people.
If he agreed with me, I don't know if Ginger Baker would agree.
No. He's just happy that all the people are emailing.
Yeah. Yeah, they came out. They came out this morning. I'm talking about just straight ahead rock and roll drummer. That's it. And there is no argument. There can't be any argument. It's John Bonham, and then after that, whoever you want to put in there, go ahead. John Bonham created it. He invented it. Nobody else did. Think about the Stones. I mean, you could say The Who with Keith Moon. The Beatles weren't doing that with Ringo. When it came to rock and roll, it was John Bonham.
Did you see him in person live?
Yes.
How old do you think you were?
I think it was high school.
Did you realize how good he was or how wild he was? Kind of wild.
Loud.
He was gesticulating a lot.
But loud. But back then, when you saw a concert, it wasn't a big stage production. It was sort of weird. This is Cincinnati at Riverfront Coliseum. And so there wasn't a big light show or anything. There wasn't anything that was really dramatic. But when Bonham did a drum solo, then it was, they had some fun with the lights. But other than that, it wasn't a big stage production. Pink Floyd came in and changed everything. The Stones, when they had the phallic symbol coming out of the stage with Mick Jagger, then you started to see production value there. But with Zeppelin, it was just, they would stop in between songs. It wasn't like you go from one song right to the next. It was just like Hey, all right, let's stop down for a little bit here. And all right, here we go with Stairway to Heaven.
My top one is Neil Peart.
Top drummer of all time is Neil Peart.
Neil Peart. And then number two, not number two, but this is just civic pride. Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers is a very solid drummer. He's also from Detroit. So I'm cheating because he's from Detroit, but he's a good drummer. But Neil Peart, to me, innovator and the actual physical athletic prowess. I mean, there's guys, not Nick, is it Nicky Six? Is it Nicky Six?
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee. Like, I get that's a lot, like you said about Kiss, a lot of showmanship. I get it. I get the theatrical aspect of it.
I would think you would be attracted to the theatrical aspect.
Chris, okay, all right, whatever. But I'm with you, where you're just kind of going, okay, the theater of I paid for the theater. I paid for the theater. But Neil Peart, I think is second to none for me. Then John Bonham. So me, it's Peart Bonham.
Oh.
So I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring.
But growing up in Michigan, you heard good music, but you're not hearing as much rock and roll music as
soul music, R&B, techno. You know, the thing about our music is, if you think about all the people that came up in the Motown system, your job was to fade into the background and just make this lovely pocket, this groove pocket. That's how you knew the sign of a good comedian. It's why straight men were always paid more than the comics. The straight man is the straight man's playing the bass. The comics just, you're going crazy, and everybody's looking at the sparkle. But if you don't have that bass line.
It's all about that bass.
It's all about that bass, Dan.
No treble.
Just bass.
Yeah, just bass.
Just the bass, folks.
Mark in Arizona. Hey, Mark, what do you have for me?
Morning, Dan.
Good morning, Mark.
Listen, I just wanted to put my nickel in on the drummer discussion. This drummer has awards from the Smithsonian, and Mickey Hart from the Grateful Dead has never been mentioned.
Okay.
I mean, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and, you know.
Well, you've added him to the list there. I have a friend, Sam Jones, who does the show on Audience Channel 239, off camera. He said, if you asked John Bonham if he were still alive who the best drummer was, he would have said Ringo Starr. But he wasn't a rock and roll drummer.
But I've heard that before, actually, that Ringo is one of the most underrated, underappreciated drummers ever. And that the things that he was doing then, while the average person doesn't understand it, that it was actually groundbreaking.
Tom-toms. Yes, I've been told that before.
Which I don't know any of that, but I have heard that.
I did not know that either. And some people who are, I would consider very... they're well-versed in music and in history, and they've said the same thing about Ringo. Ringo underrated as a musician, but not a rock and roll drummer. And if you're asking, if you said to John Bonham, who's the best drummer, I don't think he's saying him. He might say Buddy Rich or somebody other than that.
But isn't that what we ask of athletes to do? Where we say, like, who's the best quarterback, and you want to hear that confidence of, like, this sort of Jalen Ramsey approach of no man's better than me.
Fritzy, get Ringo Starr on the phone. Oh, we can't. We only got 45 seconds. All right, see if we can get Ringo Starr on. See what he thinks, who's the best rock and roll drummer of all time.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.